Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
And here is Jay Kaplan. And thank you for being with me. Welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490 AM, where we're going to contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for our retirement and how to best stay happily retired. I thought once in a while you got to do what's called, what do they call it? Housekeeping, which means, let me tell you a little bit about, in this today, about some background on the policy of guests. Next week, I'll tell you why my hair looks dark in those pictures that come up on the screen, but you're going to have to wait for that one. Anyway, I think it's time. I just want to let you know that no one pays a fee to be on the show. Some I know, some of the guests I know very, very well, and some I do not, but welcome them as long as I think it's a good fit for the show and where listeners can have an opportunity to make their own decision. Again, knowledge is power. Today, we're going to be joined by another repeat offender, Phil Walker. He will really, really get into the ways that people of retirement age can stay safer, more prepared, and even have chances to increase their legacy. He is must listening for anyone in retirement or preparing for retirement. And I don't know if there's any such thing as preparing too soon. His past appearance on this show was extremely popular, and you can look it up on this station's history. You know how to go to KMET, or on my YouTube channel that you can find from the first page on my website. And I know I tell you that website till I'm blue, until you don't want to hear anymore, but drheckham.com or www.theeducatedretirement.com. Or you can always request a copy of his part of that show and or this show or anybody else's by calling or emailing me. Okay, so when it comes to the Heckham, or some people still call a reverse, know the facts, compare the numbers. It's much too important an issue to ignore, and you certainly don't want it to eliminate. You don't want it eliminated based on not fully understanding it. So hang on. Today we have a good show. We're going to be taking a Polaroid of Sam Peckinpah while he studied Rodger Corman's class on Suspending Disbelief with James Cameron at Hogwarts. So do I have a day job? How many? Oh, no, just one. And that is at the Loan Source doing reverse mortgages. And I got to admit, I am very busy right now. Some new ones, and it seems that every single person who I have done one for in the past wants a new one, wants to redo it, which doesn't mean they necessarily owe more. When you do a regular loan, you always end up owing more money. You don't necessarily. You do, however, have the ability to lower rates and to increase the line of credit for your future use. So remember, my NMLS number, 384565. My Department of Real Estate number is 792630. And this is the place where we believe in challenging the status quo, where families and people need to be active, not reactive, and we do this to make friends and expand our network. Now, today is National Caregivers Day, and, we've had several caregivers on the show, and you know how important they are. Don't forget about them. You'll need them for your loved ones. You will probably, if you're lucky, you'll need one for yourself someday. Remember, having help makes you live longer, and having help for your family who is taking care of you is going to make them live longer. So remember, oh, here's what you need to remember. National Care Day is especially for the elderly. Do you remember that word, elderly? When I was a kid, I used to hear that word all the time. And of course, now I are elderly. And I don't like that word. So we're going to not use that anymore because of the memories it brings. So, but give them appreciation. That's what this day is about. And that's the only one I'm going to talk about because we need to fill in a break because we want more time with Phil Walker. So I'll send it back to Sean right now and we'll take a short break, but don't go away. Again, I really like that music, so I try to let it play sometimes, but I get spaced out on it sometimes, if you know what I mean. Welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on our home planet, 1490 KMET AM radio, the Mighty Met, as some used to call it, or close to that. I'm here at www.theeducatedretirementradio.com. Call me at 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. Just talk. Or just email me if you'd rather do that. Best loan today. Why? Because it is the best loan today. Best loan today at Gmail. Why? Because you need choices. You really have, and you have to know how to protect what you have. I have a team of experts that will help you, so please make use of them. Call me and I can direct you to anyone you hear on this show and others. I mean, that's why they come on the show, because they want to be made part of your household board of directors, or at least someone who is called when advice is needed on specific subjects. So whose birthday is it today? Alan Rickman, who came into this world in 1946, same as I did it, but unfortunately left us in 2016. Now, as a student at Hogwarts, he was a watercolor painter and calligrapher. So his first career was in graphic design. And his first movie was Die Hard. Not only his first film, it was the first Die Hard film. And I think he was part of the reason that it did so well. His voice is amazing. Nobody knew that there were going to be 100 others, but it was. He was the villain. And he also played the voice of the paranoid and depressed android in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Those are things that we're trying not to be while retired. He was the voice of the caterpillar in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Oh, let me, just in case. And of course, I was looking for a place either front or back that had Alan Rickman's picture, but couldn't find it. I know we have a laser disc, which would be a big picture of the original Die Hard, but didn't find it this fast. He was, I said, the caterpillar in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. And, of course, my favorite character in the Harry Potter films, Professor Snape. He was a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company, which I am not. Who else was born today? Sam Peckinpah, 1925 through 1984, and he was nicknamed Bloody Sam, which was owed to the violence of his movies. I wonder what they would call Tarantino under the same criteria these days. So, Sean, you know Sam Peckinpah, right? Wild Bunch and all that?
Yeah, he made a lot of good movies.
Yeah. So speaking of Tarantino, did you see, or did I ask you, did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I did not. No, I'm not a big Tarantino fan, so I haven't really rushed to watch it.
I did like Pulp Fiction a lot, but nothing since. And I was, I don't want, you can email me, give it to me. I'll tell you right here and right now, I was not a big fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So So there was Once Upon a Time in the West, which was great. Once Upon a Time in America, which was great. And then his partner there, Rodriguez, made Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which was not good at all. And now we have this one, and the rest is, as they say, history. But Sam grew up to become a cowboy at his grandfather's ranch in Fresno. Hear that, Dennis? He started as a stagehand like James Cameron did for Rodger Corman. And I don't know if you remember, we talked about that. And how James Cameron made spaceships to look like women's body parts. And that's what got him the job. And that certainly moved way up in the world. But this was on KLAC TV. And of course, we're talking about Sam Peckinpah, which is now Channel 13, KCOP. So he was kicked off KCOP. I guess it was KLAC at the time. He was kicked off the set of Liberace for not wearing a tie. I guess I wouldn't do so well either. He then became a dialogue coach for Don Siegel and even appeared for a little while in Invasion of the Body Snatchers as the meter reader in the basement. He also, Peckinpah that is, he also gave himself credit for writing all or part of the script for Invasion of the Body Snatchers, something that Siegel highly disputed. But his most famous movie was The Wild Bunch, and as a director, he did some other things like Ride the High Country, Major Dundee, Cincinnati Kid, The Getaway, and a whole bunch more. We seemed on this birthday thing. We seem to concentrate on people who have already earned their wings, but some are still with us. And for instance, Sidney Poitier turned 94 today. And before I get that old, and hopefully I will, let's take another break. Take it away, Sean, and stick with us, please. There's that music again. I like that last line of that commercial. Except we don't sell solutions. We give solutions. So I got to run through this a little quick because I believe that our guest will be calling in about 4.5 minutes. So on this day in history, Alka-Seltzer was introduced in 1931. I was going to have some here to show you about bubbling, but I don't want to take the time right now. I've been taking it ever since. It was originally marketed for hangovers, not for stomachs. So, hangovers. And the director, George Powell, conceived the idea of the mascot for Alka-Seltzer, originally called Sparky, and then known as Speedy, because you want your stomach to get good or speedier, whereas Sparky kind of is the problem. But Sparky quit over that and went over to General Electric, I think. But the voice for Speedy was a guy named Richard Beals, who also did the voice for Oscar Mayer Hot Dogs, Campbell's Soup Kids, and the voices of Flintstones and Jetsons. This is really cool. He was short. He was 4'7". That's about how wide. No. 4'7", and his only front of the camera appearance was in a Peter Gunn episode where he portrayed a ventriloquist's dummy. Wow. A couple of shows ago, we spoke about it, a couple of different ventriloquists. But can you imagine how great they would be if they had someone like him working there? And can you think of what kind of a job would that be, to be a living, breathing dummy? And I guess if you got paid enough, it doesn't matter if you're called dummy. But I think you'd freak people out if they saw you walking on the street. He was also a pilot who used modified controls because of his height. And also on this day in 1947, the first demo of instant photography by Edwin G Land. The Polaroid camera came out 1 year later, called the Model 95 Land camera, and it sold out in minutes. And all this time I thought that the camera was supposed to be used to take pictures on land. I guess maybe because I was an amateur astronomer even back then. So anyway, it came out only in sepia, the pictures did, and then evolved to black and white, and the color came out in 1977. Now, take a look at this. This is cool. Okay. That's Dr. Land on the cover of Life magazine. Here is, see? I mean, I think that's really cool. I'll show you like one more, and then we'll get on with it. And what I did notice about the magazine back in 1970s was there's very few advertising compared with magazines today. And the only ads I could really see were for whiskey, not scotch, or just whiskey, and cars, and a couple ads for cigarettes. So let's go, and don't go away. We're bringing Phil Walker on for a uninterrupted half hour or so. And as I mentioned, this is Must Listening, so we'll be right back, and thanks again for being here.